Credit for the information found in this video, along with various other forms of content, were all inspired by or derived from Sweetwater sound. Considering the number of electric guitar string choices available, navigating the differences between materials, treatments, and gauges can be pretty overwhelming. If you're ready for a change or just wondering what your options are, following the steps in this video will help you decide what the best electric guitar strings are for your needs. We'll be covering how to choose your string gauge or thickness of the strings, how to decide on a string material, like what type of metal they're made from, and then on to picking your favorite brand. A guitar string's gauge refers to the string's physical size given in inches. The most popular string gauge set for 6-string electric guitars is 10 through 46. The 10-gauge string is the smallest, referring to the first string, and the 46 is the largest, or 6th string. The other strings are gauged accordingly for the most even tension, feel, and sound. In standard tuning, E, B, G, D, A, E, on an electric guitar that has a normal scale length, between 24.5 and 25.5 inches, these gauges offer a balance between playability and tone. The next most popular gauge is a 9 through 42 set, which offers a little easier playability due to the decreased tension. Comparatively, a lighter gauge string will not sound as full as a heavy gauge, which is sometimes preferable. If you have a light touch, want a super low action, or seek the ability to do crazy string bending, then this is your gauge. The decreased tension does come with a few drawbacks, however. Tuning and intonation are a bit less stable, but still certainly manageable. Fret buzz or fretting out will be more likely as well, especially since you'll be tempted to set your action lower. Control in both hands is the key with lighter gauge strings. Moving up to an 11 through 48 gauge does exactly the opposite. The greater tension allows you to dig in and play harder, but the thicker strings can be harder to bend and fret for some players. This gauge set sometimes offers the option of a third string that is either plain or wound like the 4th, 5th, and 6th strings. A wound third string is a bit darker sounding, changing the entire tonal complexion of the guitar, but none of these are bad things. There are also hybrid, light top, heavy bottom sets that mix string gauges and offer a compromise so you can attack the low strings with force and bend the high strings with ease. Typically, a heavier string offers a slightly darker tone than a lighter gauge of similar materials. Heavier string gauges are also more favorable for drop tunings and alternate tunings due to the increased tension. I'll have links in the description box below for each type of string gauge we've discussed so that you can browse through all the different choices available. And a little side note here, if you're experimenting with different gauges, tunings, and even different brands of strings, you may run into situations where neck or bridge adjustments are necessary. But no need to worry because I've got every situation you may come across covered in my String Changing Series guitar maintenance tutorials. Next, we'll talk about deciding on the right string material for your needs. Electric guitar strings are all made from some sort of steel. The plain or unwound strings and the core of the wound strings are the same in any given set of strings. Different manufacturers offer slight variations, but essentially the core of the string is fairly consistent across the board. Where the real differences exist are in the wrap. Nickel-plated steel is the most popular wrap, providing a balance between a snappy and smooth sound with an even feel. Pure nickel wrap is warmer and smoother feeling, while stainless steel is brighter and snappier. There are other metal alloys available, and each have their own variations in feel and tone. Different treatments, such as a thin protective coating or cryogenic processing, can affect the tone and lifespan of the strings. And every manufacturer's process and formula yield a slightly different result. There are also flat wound strings. For electric guitars, flat wound strings offer the most dramatically different sound and feel. Compared to most strings, which are round wound, flat wound strings have an extra layer of ribbon winding that is polished, which results in a very smooth, mellow tone. Traditional jazz guitar tone is most associated with flat wound strings, but flat wound also works well for fingerstyle guitars and slide guitars. The smooth surface decreases extraneous finger and slide noise. The final step is to pick your favorite brand. Since every manufacturer's process and formula yield a slightly different result, choosing a brand that feels and sounds right to you is an important step. Even when two different manufacturers offer strings that are the same gauge and wrap and appear to be identical, slight variations in the metals and the wrapping process can create two completely different sets of strings when it comes to feel and tone. Experimentation is the only way to know for sure what you'll like best. However, staying with well-known brands can assure better consistency. In closing, finding the best electric guitar strings for you is of course highly personal, and experimentation is the only way to get there. After you find what you like and understand the differences in feel and sound, your guitar will help dictate the right choice. And keep in mind, the way the chemical composition of your hands interacts with the string material will affect the feel and lifespan of your strings. Different people need different strings. Sweetwater stocks hundreds of different types of guitar and bass strings. Browse through their huge selection by clicking any of the links below, or give them a call, and any of their sales engineers will happily help you choose the perfect set. With their massive inventory and free shipping, there's no easier way to get the strings you need. Interested in learning more about guitar pickups or finding the perfect guitar strap? Then click on either one of these videos next to do just that. I'm Rob Arnold, and I appreciate you tuning in.